When I first started learning how to code, I didn't even have a desk. Eventually, I bought a tiny desk and the cheapest racing chair that I could find on Amazon and mounted a crappy old monitor that I had to the corner in our dining room and made that my office. I originally bought this folding table that we're using for our laundry room right now as an upgrade because I wanted a bigger desk. I couldn't sit in the center of it because of the crack where it folds at, so I had to sit off to the side when I used it. If you've been around since the beginning of this channel, you'll probably remember some of my early videos where my office was literally sitting in a closet. I took the doors off of my closet in the living room and shoved my desk and monitor in there, and I used that area to make my first handful of videos on YouTube. That was a different house, and a few years later, I had been working as a developer already, so I could afford slightly nicer stuff. But we had nowhere else to put my office stuff until I did some work on the spare room that we had. Once the pandemic hit and I was working from home every day, I had to move into that spare room because I needed a bigger office. And when I decided that I was going to take YouTube seriously, I figured that was a good excuse for me to start building my dream office. I always liked looking at those really nice offices on Instagram, and I decided, well, why not? Let me try to do that myself. It's been getting better and better, but since we've moved a few times over the last few years, I've changed up my office every time we move. The last office that I had, which is the one that's been in the bulk of my big videos, was in a small room, and I painted the walls black, which at first I liked and it looked pretty cool in videos, but it was too dark, there wasn't enough light, and everything was really crammed in there. That office was fine if I wouldn't have been recording YouTube videos, but having to move around my lights, setting up my camera, and just trying to film in there was really difficult at times because how small the space was. And I would have all that stuff laying around in that small office, I just couldn't even move. So this time around, I wanted to make sure that I had a much bigger office. So when we got back to the States and started looking for a rental, I put that at the top of the priority list because what I'm doing on YouTube now is a little bit more serious. My office is my YouTube studio, and the fact that it's my YouTube studio, I'm going to be recording in here. I'm going to be taking pictures for Instagram. I'm going to be doing all of that stuff to try to grow my social media, and being able to move freely through my office and not have to knock things over when I'm trying to work and not have it be super cluttered, and making things easier to find and making things easier to put away, and just having the room to be able to do the work that I need to do in here is great. Before, I used to have a whole bunch of junk everywhere, and just because of the space being so much smaller, it felt like there was just so much more stuff everywhere. But now that I have a larger space and everything's more spread out, I'm really trying to be more organized, and I want to set up the best work environment possible. Because the truth is, I'm in here all day long, and regardless of if I pursue YouTube or go back to working a job, I need to have a nice office where I can work and focus. And some days it might be more than 8 hours, and I really need to have a nice work environment so I can stay comfortable and productive throughout the day, every day of the week. For me personally, I don't work well when there's a lot of clutter and my area is disorganized. So in order to keep my desk clutter free and organized, I decided to pick up a couple of these Alex drawers from IKEA. If you see a lot of pictures on Instagram from dream office setups, a lot of people have these. Be sure that Instagrammers, YouTubers, and Airbnbs pretty much keep IKEA in business nowadays. All I've been doing since we've moved into this place a few weeks ago is building furniture for my office, for my kids, for my wife. I probably should have called TaskRabbit or something, because I'm pretty tired of building furniture, and I think I'm not going to do any more IKEA runs for the time being since my office is almost done. But I got these drawers because I wanted to just have my desk pretty much clear of any distractions and unnecessary clutter. Even though the shelves are cool and those boxes where I store stuff in the cube shelves are nice, it's hard to find small things in there. So I decided to get the drawers so I can kind of keep all the little stuff like the memory cards and the batteries and the extra hard drives and all the stuff that's easier to find in a drawer. And I also got these nice drawer organizers to keep things extra neat. And as far as what's on my desk, I pretty much stripped everything off and only left the things that I use all the time and that are actually needed to get work accomplished. And I took my laptop off of the laptop stand because I felt that it was wasting space, because I never really opened the laptop and it would just sit off to the side, and I didn't like how I had to shift everything over to have it that way. So I decided to center everything back on the desk this time around. And I think I like it better that way. Feels more symmetrical. And to keep some of my cool stuff organized that I want to show off, like my drone and my gimbal and stuff that I've bought for YouTube that kind of looks cool, I also broke down and got the pegboards from IKEA and hung all the cool looking stuff up on the walls. Might as well show some of that stuff off. I think it looks neat, and it's better than it just sitting in a box collecting dust. At least it sits on the shelf and collects dust and makes the office look a little bit cooler. So the pegboards do add to that extra organization, because then I don't have to look around for that stuff when I need it. It's right there on the wall. And since we moved and got rid of so much stuff, I just have a whole bunch of space, because most of the cubes and most of the drawers in here are empty right now. So it's really nice that I have all this extra space. I'm also eventually going to straighten up the closet. For now, I just got some wire shelves to put some stuff on. I might get another set here soon so that got a little more room and everything's not on the floor. In my last office, I had a really small closet that was half of the size of this one. So it's nice to have more closet space to throw all the bigger things that I have. A lot of the stuff that's in here now is stuff that I've accumulated over the years of building my office. I had the 2 8-cube shelves in that small office, and this time around, I gave away one of the 8-cube shelves and I bought a new 4-cube shelf that fits right here by the door, and I put the floating shelves that I had in my previous office up as well. My previous office had one tiny window and it was on the shady side of the house, so I wouldn't get a lot of sun. And now I've got these 2 huge windows on the sunny side of the house, so I can have real plants in here, and I want it to feel vibrant and bright. I feel like the dark room just felt like a cave. I guess it just didn't feel as pleasant or have the same kind of vibes as a bright lit up room with big windows and plants and greenery and all that. Having a better office has put me in a more creative mood, so I've been making these little Instagram, TikTok short things that you've probably seen and are wondering, like, what the hell am I doing? And I'm just doing it because I'm having fun. I've got more room to record, so I can do more stuff, and I can move around the camera in this office a little bit better, and I can get more angles and more shots to make more interesting B-roll, and that way it kind of livens stuff up. So I've just been experimenting with getting better with my camera. I do think that being in a new office kind of has sparked some of that creativity, and I think that it being bigger and brighter and nicer in here has got me really motivated and eager to film more. So I've been trying to get some footage of the stuff that I've been doing in here. I wanted to get footage of me setting this whole place up, but I didn't really have time when I first was unloading the truck and getting everything in here. I didn't even want to turn my camera on because it was just so much work. But once I started getting the office a little bit set up, and I started getting the desk set up, and I started getting all the things where they needed to go, and started to put it together, and it started to, actually start looking like an office, I decided to break out the camera to get a little bit of that B-roll, because again, I want to stay creative and start doing more stuff like this, because I do enjoy videography, and I do enjoy taking pictures of my office. And as silly as it sounds, I enjoy looking at those pictures. And now that I am getting a little bit better with my camera, and I'm starting to take pictures that look halfway decent, and I'm posting them on Instagram and people are liking them, and it feels pretty cool to finally have an office that's so nice, considering my humble beginnings to like what I have now. And it feels silly because an office is like such a goofy thing to think about in that way. People look at sports cars like that, or motorcycles and boats and stuff. Some of us like offices, I guess. So it's fun. It's to be able to do this and like feel like I got such a cool looking office that once upon a time I wish I had. Now I have it. I wanted to do this video to give you guys a little sneak peek of the behind the scenes of what's been going on in my office as I've been getting everything set up. I do plan on doing a full desk/office tour video where I'll go into more detail on the stuff that's actually at my desk and in my office. There's still a few little things that I need to buy to put the last finishing touches on the room. Thinking about getting some of those wood wall lights by Nanoleaf and some standing lights by Govee, and maybe even get a rug to really tie the room together before I do a full tour of everything I have. You should let me know in the comments what you think my office is still missing. If there's anything that you want me to go into a lot of detail on when I do the tour, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll make sure to try to talk about everything in that video. Also, I'm not sure if anyone's interested in my gear and my YouTube stuff, my bag, and I don't know if I should do like a separate video where I do a desk setup/office video, and then maybe do another video for my gear/bag setup and what I use for YouTube. Just let me know if you want to see any of that stuff, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed following along with my office upgrades over the last few years. All right, with all that said, stay tuned for the tour video, and I'll see you next time.